Scott, one of the hot trends several years ago was media companies owning sports teams. And at least they thought it was going to be a hot trend when News Corp owned the Dodgers, Disney owned the Angels, and they were going to use those synergies to build up their media properties. And all of a sudden that sort of disappeared. And now we've gone on to another trend where the teams themselves are negotiating far more lucrative cable deals. Why did that trend go away?
So I think the premise was the right one, that the media rights would become more and more valuable over time. And indeed they have. And one of the primary drivers for sports media is the fact that it's really TiVo-proof. People, for the most part, will watch sporting events on a live basis, meaning they're not fast-forwarding through the commercials, which adds more value to the sponsors. I think for the most part, the public corporations, when they did own sports teams, they didn't manage them well, and they got more pressure from their shareholders, and maybe it attracted more media attention in a negative way than they had hoped. So for the most part, if you think about a Disney or a Time Warner or even a Spectacor, they prefer not to own the properties. They let someone who's local, someone who has some personality, can add value to the business, run the team, and then they are willing to pay large local right fees for the ability to broadcast those agreements, broadcast those teams over a long-term period of time.
Do you think these corporations like Disney and News Corp and Comcast, Spectacor, do you think that they were maybe a little bit surprised at how much expertise was needed to effectively run a sports team and make it a winner and a profit?
I think they probably were surprised. I mean, one of the things that we always look for, we think local ownership is very important in sports, and I think, for the most part, if you just inject a CEO that doesn't really get involved with the community, the local corporations, and the fans, it makes it very difficult for them to be successful.
Why has there been such a big increase in cable rights fees? I mean, you look at the Los Angeles Lakers and the deal with Time Warner. I mean, it's like a $2 billion long-term deal, $300 million a year. You look at what the Dodgers are now trying to get with Fox, a huge rights increase. And in some cases, it really has surprised me. What's causing that?
Yeah. First, the popularity of sports. The sports are as popular as they've ever been, which is driving a piece of it. The TiVo-proof nature of sports, people watching live content. But also, I think people see sports moving not only to your television screen at home, but also to your iPad, your iPhone, all these mobile devices. And those are just more screens. Those are just more opportunities for people to consume live content. And I think people see some real upside there.
Are we seeing the mobile rights and the handheld rights and other forms online, for instance, are those now being included in the new TV deals, and are there revenues associated with those deals? Are they able to monetize it?
I think people are still trying to figure that out. I think sort of the titans of the industry see this as an opportunity. At first it was about trying to protect your rights fees and try and just keep it on television, but I think people learned very quickly that the world is changing, and if you don't keep up, particularly with the younger generation, and give them an opportunity to view content in the way they want to see it, that you're going to miss an opportunity. So I think people are still trying to figure that out, but that's probably a big question for the industry.
We've seen some teams also try to start their own networks. Some have done it successfully, like the YES Network. The Mets have done it very successfully with Sportsnet New York. Do you think that the success that some of the bigger market teams like the Mets, the Yankees, and the Red Sox have had, to a certain degree, we'll see some of the mid to small market teams enjoy that?
It seems to be particular to the large markets. I don't see any reason why the middle-sized markets couldn't do it as well. But there seems to be some critical threshold in terms of the management team and the costs it requires to set up one of these networks. And if you've got the revenues and the size of the media market like you do in New York, you can probably overcome some of those obstacles. It's probably a little trickier for the smaller teams.